little bit, it seems like this week.
Yeah, so it's going to stay hot going into the next couple of days. 95 degrees on Tuesday and Wednesday with heat index values nearing, if not exceeding, the triple digits. So with all that saying, it's going to be very hot within the next couple of days. Also, the chance for some spotty afternoon pop-up showers with a few embedded thunderstorms not out of the question as well.
It's not too bad. We've already got the rain and muggy, so what's a little bit muggier? We'll be all right.
A little muggier.
Thanks, lady. Thanks for watching WAAY 31 News at 10. You know, you can always stay up to date at our website, WAAYTV.com. Thanks for watching, but stick around. WAAY 31 Law Call is next.
This is WAAY 31 Law Call.
Welcome to WAAY 31 Law Call. I'm Robert Lane, sitting in for Sharon Doviet. Tonight, it's Ask Us Anything with one of the smartest attorneys in Huntsville. Now, give us a call at 256-536-0077. In fact, you can also email or text us to that very same number. There are over 25,000 civil lawsuits filed every year, but you can go to the front of the list with Michael Timberlake of Timberlake League and Brooks. Welcome.
Well, it's great to be here tonight. I appreciate it.
We've only known each other for about 40 years.
Well,
I think,
you know, and I think you may be a little, you know, your kind words are well taken, but I'm not sure I'm the, you know,
I will tell
one
you,
of the
if you want a smart lawyer, this is your guy, and other lawyers will tell you the same thing. Now, you clerked for a judge, right?
Yeah. So when I got out of school, I clerked for the Court of Civil Appeals for a year, and then I've been practicing, and then. Well, 95 is 30 years this year that I was passed the bar.
Why is that law students want that clerkship so desperately?
Basically, you hear about it, kind of in the news, and people that have clerked for other judges. It gives you a leg up in terms of understanding, how the law works, how claims process through the system, what can happen after a jury trial, and then kind of the basics of the law in general. So it's a good thing.
Okay, we're going to put your knowledge to the test here.
Sure,
okay?
Absolutely.
All right, we have some video. You make the law call. Now, watch these guys and tell me if they get hurt. Oh!
Ooh.
All right.
So is Will League driving the boat? I guess is the question, because I was there a week and a half ago.
Oh.
Ouch.
Okay, so if she gets hurt, who's at fault?
Well, I mean, basically you're dealing with a situation where you're engaging in an activity that is inherently dangerous, or you're assuming the risk of injury. But if you're less than 14 years old, you can't necessarily appreciate the danger that is associated with this type of activity. So you could potentially have a claim against the driver of the boat if they were reckless or negligent in this situation. Unfortunately, boating accidents, often, revolve around alcohol, and so if you get somebody that's, intoxicated behind the wheel of a boat with kids, it could be a bad situation.
All right. Now, if you have any legal question, you give us a call or send us a text. Now, I understand the waterways, some are federal, some are state? Yeah,
so basically, the claims that you can make on waterways for claims that arise on a navigable waterway. And a navigable waterway is basically defined as any waterway that connects to the Gulf. So if you connects to a river that connects to a Gulf, it's a navigable waterway. So like the Tennessee River, Lake Guntersville is a navigable waterway. Smith Lake, on the other hand, may not be because it is not connected to a river that is connected to a Gulf. So when you're dealing with that, you look at navigable waterways, and then you look at, is it, federal maritime law would apply. There are really not that many differences in terms of, claims for negligence or claims for careless conduct, although if you are in a maritime jurisdiction, it's comparative negligence instead of contributory negligence.
And pirates? Could you help me with pirates?
We don't have any pirates in Guntersville except for over there at the Harbor Docks area.
You're absolutely right.
Yep.
Listen, Rich has been kind enough to be holding from Gurley. Rich, what's on your mind tonight?
I've got a brother that lives on a estate, and I bought the property out of my late dad's estate, and I bought it from my brother. 10 years ago. My dad left a bunch of tools and stuff. It's in there, an old truck, and I've been paying the rent on the building with the alarm system and making sure everything was taken care of and watching it for the last 10 years. Well, you know what? I'm about tired of it. I just want the stuff out of there. It's worth money, but it doesn't belong to me. And I've been after him for 10 years. I'm tired of him calling me, threatening me about it and stuff like that. What do I do to get this stuff going?
I got you. So with basically with situation where you're dealing with abandoned personal property. So abandoned vehicles, there's pretty clear statute in Alabama that allows you to put notice to the owner of the vehicle that you're going to dispose of the vehicle within 30 days, as long as you can prove that you've given notice to that owner of the vehicle within that time period. Then you can basically do whatever you want to with the vehicle. In terms of personal property, to the extent that it has any value, I think what you're dealing with is a situation where they've abandoned the property. So it's not going to be a situation where they're going to come back in and say, look, you've converted this property, you've taken it for your own use. And then on top of that, if you say, okay, well, it's your property, but I've stored it for you for 10 years, you owe me the reasonable value of the rental of that property. So what I basically just reach out to your brother and just say, look, I'm going to liquidate this property, if you don't do anything about it within the next 14 days, he won't, and then you can probably move on from there.
Now, you represent clients in Tennessee, right?
Sure.
One of your partners has
Right.
license.
Well, actually, we found out this week, William Maservi, myself, Will Lee,
congratulations.
and Heath Brooks are all licensed to practice law in Tennessee.
Excellent. Glad to hear that.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's go to Bob in Decatur. Bob, what's on your mind?
Yeah, hi. My father died in California about 3 years ago, and the only inheritors for the estate were me and my brother and sister who were also in California. He died without a will, so my sister opened up an estate for him and was named as the administrator or administratrix, and she, through that probate, disposed of all his property and split it 3 ways. And the estate was closed over a year ago. I've since found out that while my dad came to visit here, he actually bought a piece of vacant land, about an acre of vacant land. It's not worth very much. It's in rural Morgan County. But we didn't know about it, and the estate got closed out in California. My sister and my brother really aren't interested in the property. They want to just be able to see if my sister can quit claim it to me, or do they have to open up the estate again or open up the estate here? It's probably not worth as much as opening up the estate's going to probably cost more than the land is worth. Is there any way to just have them quit claim the property to me or sign an affidavit?
Yeah, I mean that's an unfortunate situation, but I think under those circumstances there is a provision in the law that allows you to basically sell the property by affidavit. You can basically say that the property was the owner of the property has passed away. It was not a piece of property that was included in the estate, and therefore you can convey your right of interest to somebody else. Now the question is going to be: is the title clear on that property? If you've held it for 2 years, basically after his death, and then convey the property, then more than likely you're going to be able to get a situation where you can get clear title. But it's a situation where most real estate lawyers that handle the situation will be able to handle it for you, be able to draw up the deed, and be able to make sure that you are able to get clean and clear title to it. Otherwise, you could have a deed to a piece of property, but you're not going to have clear title to that property to be able to sell it to somebody else.
Was I actually in Morgan County to get my star
license? I did, yeah, absolutely.
And it seemed half the lawyers in Madison County had made appointments to go over there. But great people in Morgan County DMV, thank you very much.
Well, it was a little bit tricky to get that thing,
Well, so you got yours because you're the smart guy. Okay.
It's a long story about how I got mine.
Well, we'll be back in just a minute. Get your phone calls in.
Presented by the Tennessee Valley's award-winning personal injury and wrongful death law firm, Timberlake, League and Brooks. Featuring the knowledge and experience of Attorney Michael Timberlake, Attorney Will League, Attorney Heath Brooks, Attorney William Maservi. And hosted by broadcaster and family law attorney Sharon Doviet. This is WAAY 31 Law Call.
Michael Timberlake is in this week to answer any of your legal questions. Listen, we got a text here from a friend who got hurt in a pool today. The guardrail or the rail that came off, she was in a neighbor's pool. Is it the neighbor's fault, the guy who put the pool in, or is that just part of?
Well, in that situation, you're going to have to do kind of, of an analysis. Any kind of premises cases where somebody's injured on somebody else's property, they're all very fact-specific cases. So what we look at is, okay, was there a hazard? Was there a defect that caused the injury? What was it? Was it something that should have been apparent to the person that got injured, or was it something that they couldn't have known about? Then you look at the knowledge of the landowner, the knowledge of the property owner. Did they know that this was a defective, handrail? Had somebody else been hurt on it? Was it, obviously in poor condition so that they should have known to replace it? Those are the kind of things that you're going to look at. And in general, a landowner to, what we call a licensee or a, social guest only has an obligation to tell them about problems that they knew, should have known, that they knew about and should have repaired. So it's not, kind of a situation where you're dealing with a business owner where they have a general duty to maintain their premises in a reasonable condition and inspect the premises. A landowner only really has to tell about problems they know about. Now, if it's a major problem that they probably should have known about, that can be a little bit different. But in general, unless it's an issue they knew about and didn't tell them about, they're probably not going to be responsible.
Okay, well, we've got a phone call waiting for you. It's Bonnie from Madison. Bonnie.
Yes, sir. Good evening.
Good evening.
Several years ago, my father passed away in 2018. My mom passed away in 2021, and it was left to my sister and I to clean the house out. And as we got close to the end, My sister took several containers of their personal items and family pictures and photo albums of vacations and an extensive coin collection. And she said that once that everything was probated and the house was sold, we would go through it later. Well, after that, she had quit talking to me, and it's been about nearly 2.5 years. I just want to know if there's anything legal I can do to try to get a chance to get copies of the pictures, find out what happened to my parents' things and the coin collection and everything that she took.
Yeah, I mean, basically, when an estate is open, there's a personal representative of the estate that's appointed. And it depends on whether there's somebody designated in the will or whether somebody dies without a will. And then there's a statute that basically says the spouse has priority for a certain period of time. And then after that, anybody can be appointed personal representative. But that person has to have typically, if there is no will, that person has to have a bond up to a certain amount, so they can't run off with all the property in the estate. So it sounds like your sister was the personal representative of the estate, and if that's the case, then what you need to do is file for an accounting in the probate court. If the estate is still open, she can't close the estate without your consent or without notifying you that there's going to be a hearing to close the estate. So if you didn't get that information, you didn't file that information, you need to just contact the probate court, ask for an accounting of what was the inventory of the estate, what happened to it, where did it go, and then you can determine whether she met her obligations as personal representative to disperse the property evenly between the two of you.
One of the things I like about Timberlake, League and Brooks is if you call an attorney, you get that attorney. And it seems like so many firms now are using call centers. They might be from out of state or.
Yeah, I mean, part of the reason that we do what we do is because we get to, take questions from people and talk to people and try to figure out if we can solve their problem. And that's a lot of, what we do. And sometimes it deals with personal injury, which is what we deal on a daily basis. And sometimes it's just, a general question. But to the extent that, we can provide information, we do that on a regular basis, try to help folks out.
Well, let's see if we can help someone from Cortland.
All right,
okay?
Let's do it.
What's on your mind? Cortland, are you with us?
No, but Huntsville is.
Oh, well, then
if
we'll
you're
take
in Huntsville, we'll
Huntsville.
take your call.
We'll take your call from Huntsville. What's on your mind?
Okay. Mine is a Tuesday problem. We had a severe thunder, lightning, rain, wind. I called, the lights was out, so I called the utility company. I don't know what's wrong with them. They want to know do that property belong to you? And give them all of the numbers on the paper they sent out. Quite annoying. Then they gave me the number to call when they're out. And I just go around and around with them. So
Well, let's do this.
Yeah,
you go
sure.
round and round with a lot of the government places that you call and stuff. Is there any way to sort of jump that line?
Well, not really. I mean, what you're dealing with is a situation so that, you've got a utility provider that provides, power to a certain number of consumers. They know the addresses they provide to consumers, and there may be another, person that, or co-op or whatever in our area that's close to the line that provides, power to them. So they're trying to make sure this is, one, inside their jurisdiction is this one of their customers? And then the other thing they're going to look at is, is this damage to an electrical line that was caused to the, basically the public side, or was it the private side? So there's a, public part of the electrical grid that provides, even, last mile to the poles, but from that pole to your house, that can be a problem, or that can be a situation where it's the owner of the property's problem as opposed to the public utility. So when they're getting the information, they're trying to send out a crew, they want to make sure, one, is this in their jurisdiction? Are you sure you're one of their customers? And two, is this on their property or is this their responsibility to do it? Or do you need to call an independent electrician because it's between the pole and your house?
We're going to take a call from Michael from Huntsville. Hey, Michael.
That's a great name.
Are you with us, Michael? I think he's gone.
Got intimidated.
It is. Listen, explain to me, not every lawyer practices every form of law.
Sure.
Well, but they would sort of lean to believe that a lawyer is a lawyer is a lawyer.
Well, I mean, it's kind of like is a doctor a doctor a doctor? It's not. There's people that do heart surgery. There's people that do knee surgery. There's people that even in orthopedics, that do backs, necks, shoulders, ankles, knees, feet. People that handle gastric problems. People that the obstetricians. They're all different varieties of professionals in that one area of practice, or in medicine. Same with law. There are people that do bankruptcy work. There are people that do family law matters. There are people that handle probate matters, estate matters, things like that. And there's people that do personal injury. Now, they all kind of run together at some point when you're dealing in any cases, but you want to talk to a lawyer about kind of the specific area of practice that you're looking for. If you've met with a lawyer before, if you've talked with a lawyer before, you worked with a lawyer before, call that lawyer and say, hey, I've got this problem, who would you recommend? Because in general, the lawyers in our community are going to know the people that can fix or work the problems the right way.
So what else are you seeing this summer? Car accidents up?
I mean, it's, car accidents are the most likely way that anybody is going to get injured. So you see more of those, especially in summer months when there's more traffic on the road.
Well, I keep seeing a lot of 18-wheelers on the road.
I mean, there's a lot. 565 has gotten a lot of action lately.
Well, if you've got a question, you've got one more chance to get it in. Give us a call. We'll be right back. Timberlake at Timberlake League and Brooks here in Huntsville at 256-536-0770. And one of my favorite websites is law-injury.com.
Yeah, and Sharon's not with us tonight, but she's a great family law attorney. So if you have any kind of problem like that in North Alabama, you can call her 256-539-7337 or SharonFamilyLaw.com.
Okay, let's go to Moulton. I think you're still on the line. Moulton? How about Huntsville?
Right here.
Okay, which question?
This is a irritating question, Mr. Timberlake. This evening we had a terrific, horrible thunderstorm with cloud-to-ground lightning. Everybody in my neighborhood, lights was out. We called country utilities.
You know, I'm finding it really hard to hear you. Can you try your question one more time?
It was a severe thunderstorm this afternoon with high wind,
right,
lightning, cloud-to-ground, lightning, so everyone's lights were out. We called the utility place. They give us a number if you are a utility customer from them, press 1.
Well, listen, we did have a storm today.
Yeah, it is.
And so explain to me about, people's roofs get damaged. I mean, the rain was just unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, if there's an event that causes some problem, property damage or anything like that, then you can look at, if you have property damage, you're going to look at your homeowner's insurance coverage. If you've got an electrical outage, obviously you want to contact the company that provides your electrical service. Sometimes they can get there immediately, sometimes they can't. But typically, if you've got power out, you're looking at a number of people that do. And you can, once they've identified that there's a problem, they're going to put you in the queue and hopefully get to your place as soon
But
as
Michael,
possible.
it seems everybody I know who's had roof damage has to fight with the insurance company.
Oh, and there's been one company that's been terrible about this recent thing. So it's been, what you look in this situation is you've got a contract with an insurance company to repair the damage that's caused by the weather. They're going to hire somebody to come in to represent their interests, and sometimes that person's not completely honest and says this wasn't caused by the weather or provides some small amount. What you need to do in that situation is document the damage, through multiple contractors. Or if you've got a contractor that comes in and says, look, this is the damage, we tell people, look, take pictures of it, put chalk marks on the roof so that you have evidence when we go back forward to them to try to get it paid for, that we can prove that it was a result of this particular storm. But,
now, you want to learn a little more about the law? Get the midday on Monday right here on Channel 31.
Tomorrow.
Someone will be there. And Sharon Doviet will be back next weekend.